Sinky claps. What's up, you guys? Welcome to episode 2 of the Dust Till Dawn podcast. Uh, episode 1 was a learning experience. I was all over the place, but I think that was fine. It shows the life of having ADHD, but it was still a fun experience to edit and show. And we live and we learn. But something I want to touch on that I didn't get a chance to in episode 1 was the excuse me, uh, was the grind set mentality or the hunger mentality that I was talking about. Because when I talked about being complacent, I didn't really go into a lot of detail on it. Basically, once I got comfortable, once my day job started making a decent amount of money, I started holding back on the creative aspects of my life. So from doing photos, from recording videos, making short form, long form content on TikTok, Instagram, Reels, and YouTube Shorts, I stopped doing that because I was like, oh, I'm making all this money. I'll just shift focus over to my day job. But then I think that's kind of problematic as a creative because then I was like, I shifted focus into my day job, and my day job at the time was being a journalist, and I was like, oh, let me shift all my focus from my creative aspect into my day job. But whether or not I was using a lot of my cameras, my creative mindset in that day job, I wasn't making any more money, and I was very limited in the scope of what I could do as a creative because I had to make sure that I represent the company in a certain way. Excuse me. And granted, I learned a lot. I was able to push the boundaries of what I normally could do because I got access to all this equipment, access to all these people, all these mentors. But because I was doing it under the company, under the name of the company, I wasn't able to really express me as a creative. And it took me a while. It took me leaving the media to realize that. And now that I'm in my new day job, which is just as hard in terms of like the workload compared to what I used to do in the media. I've decided, well, I don't have kids, I don't have a partner right now, and I have a dog, but where are my other responsibilities at? So I said, nothing has changed other than the job. Why am I not creating more? Now, granted, the workload is a little more compared to what I was doing in the media, but all in all, nothing really changed. So, why am I not going out and taking more photos? Why am I not recording more videos? I think it's because, again, I got comfortable. And there's nothing wrong with being comfortable. I applaud people who are they want to stick to their job, they want to stick to their working hours, whether that be their 9 or 8 to 5 or whatever hours they work. Once they clock in, they give it their all, they get paid to do what they got to do and go home and play video games or go hiking or walk the dog, tend to their kids. I applaud those people. But for me, I don't, other than me walking my dog, there's nothing else I do outside of that. Like I play games every now and then as an escape. But why don't I take that mindset of like, okay, let me escape by documenting it, by monetizing it, by making videos out of it. While I'm playing games, why don't I live stream me playing games and entertain people? Granted, I don't know if people will be entertained, but you'll never know until you do it. Or why don't I go why don't I walk my dog and document me walking my dog, make a video out of that and showcase Guam at the same time and make some extra side income. In the first podcast, I talked about how I'm making more money now on my day job, but in the grand scheme of things, I'm not comfortable in my financial situation yet because in this economy, it's hard. Like even though I'm making this amount in my day job, I'm not making enough to go travel, to go do the things I want to do, to be financially free. If I lost my job today, what am I going to do? And then that's when it clicked like, okay, I have these thoughts. I have these thoughts of I'm not going to make money anymore. Or what happens if I don't make money in my day job? What if I lose this? Now I'm like, okay, we're back in this mindset. What do we do? Either we find a higher paying job or we find, I'm looking for the term, we find other revenue streams. So what do we do with that? What am I good at? I'm not financially literate enough or smart enough to handle taxes. Oh, sorry, it's tax season, so that's in my head. But I'm not financially literate or smart enough to handle the tax market. Shoot. Sorry, someone messaged me and then my thoughts are all over the place. I'm not smart enough to handle the stock market. I can't be a day trader. I don't know how to be a day trader. I don't know how to invest in long-term holds in the stock market. Yet I'm learning. No, and I don't have enough capital to do real estate. But what else am I good at? I make videos. I do photos. So why don't I just take this thing that I like to do, that I pushed on the sideline, that I would only do when I have free time, and try and get some extra revenue from it, and still push this creative outlet of mine out. And that leads me to my next point: time. Recently, quick little tangent, I started this weight loss journey. I found out I was diabetic around, I'm gonna say, June of last year, 2023. And my late mom passed to diabetes, so that was a health scare for me. So I was like, okay, let's get healthy. Let's try and get healthy. I'm still a little plump. We're working on it. Uh, I went from 270 pounds to I'm around 240 now. So a lot of people ask me, how do you find time to do this? And like I mentioned earlier, I don't have kids. I don't have a partner. Granted, I have my dog, but my dog. I go on walks with my dog, so I count that as part of the weight loss journey. I count that as my exercise too. But I realized there is enough time for people to do what they want to do. But the keyword there is want. I wanted to lose the weight. I want to get healthy. I want to be a better version of myself. I was always a plump kid growing up, leading into my adult years. Now, I once I realized I can find 2 hours a day, 5 days out of the week to exercise. Why can't I find time to take photos for 30 minutes? Why can't I just take my camera and go, I don't know, while I'm walking my dog on the beach, why can't I just bring the camera and take photos there? Doesn't take that long. It takes me, an hour to edit? I sleep at 10 or 11 at night, most nights. Sometimes when you're tired, I sleep earlier, but average, I sleep at 10 or 11 at night. There should be enough, I should be able to find time to do it. So, my thing for everybody is, what my suggestion is to look at your schedule and try and iron it out, because you need a routine, and that routine will help you no matter what you're trying to do, whether that be doing something creative or trying to find a new financial revenue stream. So my thing was, once I got into this routine of working out, once I found this time, usually I would work out around 7 or 8 p.m. My gym closes at 10. And then after that, go home, eat dinner, and prepare for the next day. Now, where do I find time to take photos and videos? Well, typically I get off around 5:30 from my day job. Golden hour. I'm a big golden hour person. If you look at my Instagram page, I'm a big sunset photographer. This is, I don't know, I think I got that from my late mom, who would pull over on the side of the road, will make me pull over when I'm driving her to work to take photos of of Beach Road back home in Saipan. But that you can find time here and there for things that you want to do. But what about for things that you don't want to do? It's very easy to say you don't have time to do blank if you don't want to do it. I didn't want to work out. I didn't want to try and diet. I didn't want to, do all of these things. So I would make excuses like, oh my gosh, I got out of work late today. There's no time for me to go cook. I'm just gonna go eat out. Oh my gosh, there's no time for me to edit this video. But you know, excuse me. Granted, there are days where it's okay not to do anything. I feel like you need that mental break. But if you really wanted to do it, I think you would find the time to do it. So what I would do is I would take a small bit of my day and dedicate it to something I don't want to do, and then see if I really don't want to do it after let's say a month of trying it out, I'll probably drop it. I'll give myself 1 month to embrace the suck. I forgot where I got that from. I think it's from Marines who say that, but I gave myself 1 month. Okay, let me go to the gym once a week. If I can dedicate at least 2 hours to the gym once a week, let me try and do it twice a week, then 3 times a week. And I built that habit of like, okay, I'm going to dedicate this time. And eventually I realized I come to like it. Now, what happens when I do that with photos and videos? Okay, before I go to the gym, I gotta edit this photo. I gotta take a photo. Give myself this 1 hour after I clock out. Let me do this. Let me make some content. Then let me go to the gym. And then eventually I swapped it because I like taking photos and videos more than working out. But if you follow me on Instagram, all I post is me working out because I don't have to edit. It's just me at the gym taking a photo on my iPhone. So I swapped it. In order for me to earn the right to edit these photos and videos or take them, or play a video game if I just want to decompress, I would have to earn it by working out. Then that for me really worked out in the end, because now here I am making this podcast. I'm dedicating time I think 1 to 2 hours a week to try and film this. Granted, this is only the second episode, but I've been uh, at this location. We've been trying to iron this out for like a while now. I think it's been months. So I was like, I have to do this because once I looked at my schedule, I saw there was more time than I actually thought I had. Now, taking that into the mentality of the broke boy mentality that I mentioned in the first episode, how do I take this extra time that I have and turn it into making me more money? First, I have to realize that it's not, and this is what I tell people who want to get into photography or videography or anything dealing with being a creative and monetizing it. You have to realize it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to be a quick thing. The theme of this episode is time. It's going to take time. There are people who get lucky, catch a break. The first episode might blow up, and that happens. But I realized that it's okay if it doesn't. Eventually, once you keep putting in the work, something is gonna take off, and you're gonna make the money. And that leads me to where I'm at now. My gear, in terms of making and doing photos and my side business, I'm a better photographer now. I have better gear, but I made more money when my skills were lower and my gear wasn't the best. Why is that? It's because I didn't take the time. I'm no longer taking the time to push myself out there, to advertise myself, to rub elbows with people and say, hey, I am a photographer. Let me take your photo. Let me make a video for you. I haven't done that. My rates have gone up, yet my first year of doing freelance photography, I brought in $4,000. Last year, I'm going to use 2020. Let's see, last year's 2023. 2022, I'm going to use that as an example because that's where I was trying to do the media and photos 50-50. I only brought in $1,000 in 2022. But my rates were more. I was charging, I think I used to charge like $50 for a 1 hour portrait session. Then it went to $150. I charged three times more. Yet I didn't bring in, granted, less work, more money, but take a look at the difference from 4 grand to 1 grand, even though my rates were higher. I'm not pushing myself out there. So now I'm trying to, again, take the time to advertise myself, to put in the work and do what I love to do and get paid to do it. And that's what I want to tell. I don't try to inspire people. I think that's pretty lame when people say I'm put here to inspire people. I'm here to tell my story. I'm here to tell what worked for me, what didn't work for me. And hopefully people can learn from that. Because when I say inspire, I don't think I'm inspiring. I think I'm just who I am. And I like talking about myself. So hence the podcast. A friend of mine says that's just because I'm a Leo, apparently. And apparently star signs are all the rage. So they're like, that's part of your personality trait. I digress. But that's what I want. That's what I'm here to tell. That's why I really wanted to do this podcast and learn from other people doing what they like to do and getting paid to do it. Uh, a friend of mine who I'll leave nameless right now, but I recently went out to a local band show. I went to a concert. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking out. I went to a concert. I ran into him. He's a local nighttime photographer and event photographer. And I want to bring him onto this podcast. He's down to come in. And we're going to do compare and contrast on me being a golden hour sunset photographer using natural light and him using uh, studio lights and neon signs, and see the difference on how we take our photos, but also learn how he was able to monetize himself, because I saw his journey on Instagram where he just went out, did gigs for free. Heck, I don't even think there were gigs. He just went out, took photos of a bunch of local bands, local singers, performers, restaurants, bars, and he just took their photos. He edited them, took them for free, or if you want to be politically correct, or the proper terminology, at no cost to these individuals, because it did cost him money. It costed him his Lightroom subscription, his camera, and his time. Again, time being the keyword of this podcast. He just went out and did it. And now people are blowing up his DMs, blowing up his phone, hitting him up to do all these gigs. And I'm not saying I'm better than him, he's better than me. I'm saying, why am I not getting hit up? And the reason, I'm not out there. I didn't put myself out there. I didn't take the time to go to these bands, go to these bars and nightclubs and to take their photos, provide them with a service that they would like to pay for. And that's on me. I'm not saying either one of us are better, either one of us have better gear. It's he went out of his way, took the time. He has a day job too, but he goes out at night, takes these photos, edits them when he gets home, sleeps at 3 or 4 in the morning, I think. I don't know, I'm just basing it off his Instagram. I never asked him. That's a question I'll bring up when I get him on the podcast. But he's putting in all this work, and now the fruit of his labor is showing. And that's something I need to instill in myself. And he goes out solo. He doesn't bring people, like he invites people, but most of the time I notice he goes out solo. So I think if I want to get paid for what I want to do, I have to find comfort in going out alone. And then now he has he has a lot of friends, a lot of people recognize him when he goes out. I'm like, let me try and do that. So if he listens, you're welcome. You're welcome for the publicity and for me telling you you're inspiring. All jokes aside, I am inspired by this guy, and I'm glad to call him a friend. And I'll say his name once I iron out his schedule. Or, yeah, I just want to keep teasing everybody because I need more clicks. The goal of this podcast is to get me some money too. This is another side revenue stream. But all in all, I say this to say, if you want to do something, if you really want to do something, you're gonna find the time to do it. Whether or not that's sacrificing sleep or rearranging your schedule. You just have to want to do it. Because if you don't want to, even me, I don't, there are times where I don't want to work out. There are times where I don't want to take the photo. I don't want to take the video. I don't want to edit the video. And that's fine. That's really fine. Just shift it. If you don't want to do it today, do it tomorrow. Find a time tomorrow to do it. And then, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to take a break. But I say that to say there is enough time for you to do what you want to do. And maybe if you do have the responsibility of being a parent or taking care of your siblings, I encourage people to have a good support system. I'm very lucky. I have a lot of friends who are very supportive and encouraging and pushing me to do what I want to do. I live with a roommate who's always asking me what I and holding me accountable in being a creative. So surround yourself with people who my next little tip before we wrap up is find a great support system. Find someone who can hold you accountable while you're also and but also hold yourself accountable to do the things you want to do, whether that is photos or videos or I don't know, going to tax market. Here I go again. Stock market. My gosh, this is what I get for not. That's what I get. It's almost dinner time. We usually record these at night. It's almost. I forgot how to tell time when I used to sell watches. It's almost 8 o'clock at night. It's time to eat dinner. But I say that to say find the time to do what you want to do, and it's so liberating once you finish it. So that wraps up episode 2 of the podcast. I don't know what the name will be. I don't think it'll be time related. I think that's just the theme. But yeah. And what do you think of the new lighting setup? You like it? You don't? For those of you watching on YouTube, let me know what you think in the comments below. For those listening on Spotify, let me know. Do you guys like the sound? Anything I can do with the edit in terms of post processing? How do I sound? And episode 3, a little teaser, we got our first guest coming on. I'm going to hold me accountable to that. I won't say who, but she is a local influencer and she's a great friend of mine. That's all I'm going to say. And pretty much on that topic. Sorry, I was blanking out. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. And if anyone, I don't have a good album art. If anyone wants to offer their services in helping me out in terms of making cover art or a logo for the podcast, hit me up. I have a friend. I'm commissioning a friend to do it too, but I want like more options. Maybe in the future we might do merch. I might take someone else's design, put in a merch on a t-shirt. I don't know. Plenty things in my head, plenty things to do, plenty things to talk about. But I'm excited for the journey and I'm excited to bring all of you along. But until then, until next time, stay charchalu. Adios.